What's up, my fellow YouTubies? Welcome back to the channel of Mike the Great Studios, and you guys probably know that this year is coming to a close, and so I decided that I can record at least one last YouTube video of the year, and that is that I decided to rank all 7 MCU Phase 4 movies. And I actually meant to do this video sometime after Wakanda Forever came out, but I just got a little mixed up in some of the stuff that I was posting in the stop motion video that I was working on just a couple days ago. Now here we are. Make sure to like and subscribe if you like this video, and wish everybody around you a happy new year. Alright, now with all that said in mind, let's get into this. Coming in last place is gonna have to be Thor: Love and Thunder, and it's pretty unfortunate that I have to have this one in last place because I was actually pretty excited to go see this movie when it was first coming out. I was buying a bunch of the Happy Meal toys and the Thor action figures, and the week that I went to go see this movie, I was on a trip in Las Vegas, which seems like the perfect environment to see this kind of movie with, when you take it from the movie's marketing. But then when I saw it, I didn't really know what I was watching, just because I feel like Taika Waititi was adding way too many jokes and way too much silliness in this movie. Coming off of Thor Ragnarok, he thought Thor Ragnarok was pretty funny, so let's make this one even more goofy. So now we're getting Thor doing split kicks, and Thor running around in a hot dog costume. Thor is feeding his hammer some root beer, and just the whole thing with Thor having this love triangle with his hammers. Like, I just feel like this movie was playing way too goofy, and when you take that in with Christian Bale's character inside of the movie, I just don't think that it really matches all together. So the entire tone, I feel like this movie is entirely ruined by its tone. It feels way too much like self-parody. I also didn't really like too much of the treatment for Jane, and I feel like the Lady Thor, the Thunder Thor, I forgot Jane's Thor name, but the Lady Thor plotline, I don't think that they handled that too well. I think it was a little rushed into the movie a little bit too much, with her suddenly given the power of the hammer, and her with her illness and the cancer plotline. I just feel like they rushed that stuff in a little too much inside of the movie, and I feel like it could have been done a little better. This movie was a little disappointing. You can watch even more of my movie review on how I felt about it, but that, for me, it easily comes in the last place. At number 6, Eternals, and this one kind of has the opposite problem from Thor: Love and Thunder, whereas Thor: Love and Thunder is trying to be very jokey. This one is trying to open up to a lot more complex ideas inside of the MCU. So the big problem about this movie is that I just feel like it has way too many plot lines, just mostly because of the fact that it has way too many characters. It has 10 lead characters, and because the movie is only at least 2 hours long, and that means that we can't really like get a proper introduction from each of these characters. So the way we're getting to know them is mostly by flashbacks, and not a lot of them are entirely developed all that well, or even all that interesting. Even our lead character, I don't think she was developed in the most interesting light all that much. And the biggest thing that disappointed me with this one is the way they're introduced into the movie as heroes. I mean, they don't really come off as heroes given to their purpose on the universe, where the purpose that they were given by the Celestials was to destroy humanity. And the fact that they're still in that hesitant state of whether they did the right thing in the third act, that kind of ruins the element of the movie a little bit by with them even being given off as heroes or not. The disappointment I had with the movie was Icarus. I feel like, but with the fact that he was introduced in as this Superman-like character inside of the MCU, I just don't like the direction that they decided to take with him. Still being on that mission with the Celestials, and him being that one symbol that that he actually cares for his purpose. I just don't like what they did with him. This movie, unlike Thor: Love and Thunder, I took a little bit more enjoyment out of this movie, but it's still not one of the best movies in the MCU. In fact, it has the lowest. It's the only MCU movie with a rotten score on Rotten Tomatoes. Number 5, Black Widow, the first MCU movie in Phase 4, and I think this was the one that I was the most anticipated for, just because it was supposed to come out in 2020. That's when they first showed the trailers, but then COVID happened, so then I had to wait a whole another year to see it. But when I finally got to see it in the theater, it was okay. I really enjoyed the whole ideal of Black Widow's origin story with her being raised by the fake family, and it draws in a lot of tension between her and her sister. I also really loved Florence Pugh as the secondary lead character. I really think that she was the scene stealer throughout the entire movie, the big standout. She had a lot of nice, funny humor in her personality, and I think she did great with the performance. I just think that this movie draws a lot of disappointment from what they did with Taskmaster, just because the marketing that they did with the movie and in the trailers and stuff like that, I don't feel like it delivered in on as much as the audience's expectations as the villain. But I also feel like this movie came out way too late in the process, as this was Black Widow's final appearance. Her final appearance is her own movie, her own standalone movie, and out of all of her appearances in the MCU, I think that this movie has probably the weakest action from her. This movie has some of her weakest action sequences. She doesn't have as many great moments as she does in the other previous movies in the MCU. And this is her standalone movie. I don't know. I feel like that was a huge issue in there. But still, this movie was pretty good. Just not one of the strongest points of Phase 4. At number 4 is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, the first MCU movie to be directed by Sam Raimi. And I really enjoyed this movie as the horror movie inside of the MCU. Whereas it has a bunch of these dark elements inside of it, all that was pretty fun. And this seemed like the perfect movie for them to be doing all that. And what I really loved the most about this movie was what they did with Wanda. Just taking this broken character who at first was on the side of good, because we know how much she's lost throughout the course of this universe, it makes sense that we see her turn to this very dark side, and that means that we can resonate with the villain as well as the hero. I also really like, it was nice seeing a couple of cameos inside of the MCU throughout the multiverse. I'm not going to spoil any of them right now, unless, yeah, I'm sure a lot of you have seen it already, but Professor X as well as a couple of those. Also loved what they did with Doctor Strange's relationship with Christine and seeing more of that. I think that the movie didn't deliver too much on the multiverse aspect of it. I think that it could have done more delivering on like what the title of the movie is, which was, it doesn't feel like we got as much multiverse as we wanted there to be, as much multiverse madness as there needed, but still a great movie with a great villain. Making it into the top 3 is ShangChi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I hope I said his name is Shang, whatever. But anyway, I think that this movie was one of the most fun movies in Phase 4. I think that it did a better job across from Eternals, from introducing us to some new characters inside of the MCU. I really liked Awkwafina in this movie. I think that she was pretty hilarious. And this movie, just like Multiverse of Madness, I think that it had a great villain and a proper version of the Mandarin, where his motivation is love. I think that was a nice new element inside of the MCU. And it also had some pretty nice action with the martial arts stuff and all that. I think that it had a little too much CGI elements inside of there, but it was still a lot of fun seeing this new world of the MCU, introducing us into this new lead character, and giving him a great origin story, a great arc throughout it, as somebody who's trained by his father on for against his will, but using it with his great potential on the side of good. And I just think that this movie was pretty gorgeous. So for me, there's not much I can say about this one, but it belongs in my top 3. The runner-up here is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I just think that this movie did a great job at honoring the legacy of Chadwick Boseman. Just because it was dealing with a real-life tragedy, that means that throughout the movie we can resonate with it a whole lot more. And I think that this movie did nice, even bringing up some arcs of some of these characters. The big one is what they did with Queen Ramona. I think that she wasn't given as much of a big role in the first movie. She was only known as the mother and the wife of King T'Chaka. I think that this movie did a lot of nice, did very good at showing us everything through her perspective and making her a much more compelling character. Same for Shuri and Okoye. I think because Shuri was brought into the lead, That meant that we had more opportunities to actually resonate with her instead of her being just the jokey little sister from the first movie. I also really enjoyed our villain Namor because he is a king who is responsible for his kingdom. He plays that in a little different than the way that T'Challa did in the first movie, as he was also somebody who was responsible for his kingdom. But he commits like the worst possible actions in order to protect his people from the Wakandians because of the past history that he's had with them, which makes in for a lot of great, compelling ideals inside of the Black Panther franchise. I also, I mean, it was nice seeing Ironheart inside of the MCU. I don't think she really needed. I don't think she needed to be in this movie too much, but this was one of the best experiences inside of the MCU. So for me, it's number 2 on this list. But obviously, coming in first place is gonna have to be Spider-Man No Way Home, and I don't know where to say it. I mean, this movie was just one of the best movie theater experiences that I've ever had when I saw it last year and around the perfect time, just because of all the history that I know about the Spider-Man universe. It just made for a perfect movie theater experience. It was just fun seeing a bunch of these characters interacting, and it was great seeing Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire inside of the theater again. And I think that this movie really elevated Tom Holland's Spider-Man's story arc. With him, finally, they found a way where he can get the nice, proper origin story, even in his side of his third movie, where he gets that nice, with great power comes great responsibility line from Aunt May. And it also, I think that it delivered on the multiverse stuff a little bit better than Multiverse of Madness Doctor Strange did. Just because of how much it was able to pull off and how much story we know from all of these characters. It was nice seeing Green Goblin again and Doctor Octopus and a bunch of the back and forth stuff between Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, and Tom Holland. Seeing their Spider-Man interacting was just so much fun. But this movie just had a fantastic storyline and a fantastic character arc for Tom Holland, and just one of the best movie theater experiences that I have ever had. So for me, this one was just my best experience in Phase 4, so it easily comes in at number 1. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe if you love this video. I also did a poll, 2 polls a couple weeks ago. One on what are the best MCU Phase 4 movies, one of the worst MCU Phase 4 movies. You might have also noticed that I included Werewolf by Night on some of those lists. I didn't include it on this video because it's really a Disney Plus movie. But also remember to wish yourself a Happy New Year and to everyone else around you. And I will see you later.